Happy Father's Day, everybody. I just thought that I would make a quick video talking about my experiences having a father and being a father. And I don't know if this is going to be interesting, but none of my videos are interesting, so whatever. So I had a dad. He left us about 12 years ago. Give or take. I mean, it wasn't like precisely to the day 12 years ago, but it was in 2012. So, yeah, he was awesome. He was an explorer, mountaineer, adventurer, kind of a thrill seeker. He'd like to, just ski extreme things and motorcycle really fast. I don't know. I wasn't there for some of his more crazy stuff when he was younger. I thought he was an awesome guy. He could like put his mind to something and just it was incredible. But he had this focus. He would the AC's on. Oh well, what do you do? He would, like, for example, he wanted to learn the guitar. So he would spend like 10 to 12 hours a day on the guitar. And then 6 months later, he sounded like Van Halen to me. I mean, okay, I'm not like an expert musician, but I thought that it was pretty impressive. And the strangest thing is, after he taught himself to play the guitar, he like developed the ability to sing, which he'd never really, I mean, of course, everybody can sing, but I mean, like, he actually got to where he didn't sound bad. So that was kind of a thing in my family. Was my grandpa played the guitar and sang. We'd have hootenannies at our family cabin in the Soapstone Basin. Sorry, most people probably don't know where that is. In the High Uintas. There we go. And then, my dad was following, and I guess there's probably some assumption that I would do it, but I just never got around to it. I don't know. I have like a deficiency when it comes to stringed instruments. I seem to be much worse than other people, but I digress. So yeah, my grandpa was also awesome. Nobody in my lineage was officially diagnosed as autistic, but there are definitely some clues that my grandpa and my dad may have both been. It is possible. I don't know, maybe not. And my grandpa was pretty extroverted, so I don't usually associate that with autism. So you know what? Maybe I shouldn't assume things like that. I could be completely wrong. Yeah, and then I am also a father. I have a lovely daughter who's at university now. Just thinking back, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and a few times she would like ask me questions, and I would just be completely dumbfounded. It's like yeah, it just like funny silly things like she was about 5 or 6 years old, and I was playing a rap song, and she repeated one of the lines that had a racial slur in it. And I'm like, yes, that is the line. She said it perfectly. And we need to have a discussion right now. This exact moment. So I think we got that one under control. It's funny because there's little misunderstandings and things that you don't predict. I've told this before, but fortunately we identified this miscommunication before it became a problem. She thought that flipping somebody off was fucking them. And when I initially heard that, I'm like, well, that's kind of a weird thing to think. But then I'm like, well, wait a minute. What do you say when you flip somebody off? And I'm like, oh, maybe that wasn't that, weird of a misunderstanding. Just kind of like I, as a child, thought that being fired meant being, burned alive. And apparently that's a pretty common misunderstanding for people who know what fire is and don't really have a good conception of what employment is. So, there's just certain things that just happen repeatedly. And a few times my daughter asked me questions that were not necessarily directly about sex, but were sex adjacent. And I've never really considered myself as somebody who had a stick in their ass, but like I just completely flubbed it. I just really screwed up. Like, for example, one time we were listening to a Serj Tankian song, And my daughter, I don't know how old she was, maybe 7 or 8, asked what the word whore meant. Now, obviously, I could have given her a dictionary definition, or I could have said it was a societally stigmatized act. But in my mind, I'm trying to balance, okay, how do I explain the societal stigma and why this is considered, derogatory and insult, etc., while not propagating, our sex negative culture onto my daughter's impressionable mind. And holy shit, did I fuck that one up. And it makes me a little bit sympathetic to times that, like, when I was a kid, I got some really, really bad explanations for things a few times. I think of one particular example, like, it was almost like Saturday Night Live skit level bad explanation for something. And, when somebody isn't prepared to answer a question and they don't have time to think about how to answer, maybe it's understandable if they don't really make a lot of sense. And in the grand scheme of things, I think that misunderstandings get worked out. It's not like you have one chance to be right and then, your life is over. I think that as a parent, it's our responsibility to empower our children to have the ability to think for themselves and be exposed to many different ideas, including ideas that contradict our own. And in my daughter's case, I think that her influx of different ideas came from books. I think she read more books when she was 8 years old than I have read in my entire life. She would go to the library and get a gigantic stack of books and be done and be done reading them so fast that I'm like, how? What do you mean you just read those 8 books? And I guess she would just go home and just read one and then pick up the next one and read that one and pick up the next one and etc. So I think that in doing that, she got exposed to a variety of different ideas, including ideas that disagreed with me, which is probably for the best. Because I don't necessarily know if I'm being stubborn and wrong about something. And I think that everybody has, to a certain extent, different ideologies that they pursue. Maybe they get a little bit passionate about something. Maybe they overcorrect on something. Can't really think of a specific example, but, I'm glad that she is becoming her own person. And I think that it's extremely unhealthy, these people that assume that they're right about everything and therefore assume that their children must be identical clones of themselves. So that's my parenting theory in a nutshell. And I don't know if this is really a Father's Day message or if it's just a ridiculous ramble from me who happens to be a father. But for whatever it's worth, happy Father's Day. And Dad, if you're out there hearing me, then miss you and hope the hereafter is good. If there is a hereafter. If not, just live in my memory. So, all right. See ya. Love you. Whatever.